Boo! Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Happy Halloween, welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today we're flying the Cirrus SR22. We're going from Chandalar Lake, Alaska, down to Central. Going 21,000 feet. It should be about a 52-minute flight, from what I've got planned out. 147 miles. Yeah, that's about right. Climb aboard, let's go flying. Oh. Okay, now, yeah, there we go. I was gonna say, was it foggy or clouded in? But no, I think it's just a little bit of high clouds from that viewpoint here. Looks like we're fairly close to sunset time, so we might get another... Oh, look at that out there. That's pretty. Sun kind of turning the sky gold, and you get the lake out here. Everything's covered in snow. Yeah, alright. Ha. Let's get this thing started up. Battery switches. CDI. Altitude and FLC, getting those set, 110. Nav, VNav. Cycle the mixture there. That's good. We can actually put that full forward. We'll go ahead and turn the boost pump on. And strobe lights. Pitot heat. Minus 11 on the ground here. Alright. Mags are good. Clear! Alright. Engine is started. Pressure's up into the green. Oil temperature's rising. Battery amperage, let's turn the alternators on. That checks out. So that's good. I clear those real quick here. We can turn the nav lights on. Gonna do a run up right here in this position. So let's go ahead. Uh-oh. Alright, let me try this real fast. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Alright, yeah, throttle was completely unresponsive, so I had to plug back in the USB hub. And it's a little buggy for a moment when you do that. Let's turn the avionics on, I forgot to hit that there. But now it's functioning right. Let's go ahead and run up. Looking for about 1700. That's a little too high. Oil pressure is a little high. Right up at the bottom of the yellow. Top of the green. That'll come down once it warms up. Yeah, that's good there. Still a tad high on the RPMs. Pull it back there and check it. Yep, keeps kind of stuttering around a little bit there. Alright, that's good. Back to both. Yep. Alright, that's good. Of course, as the throttle's being a little bit finicky. Engine instruments are in the green. There's no warnings, errors, cautions, alerts, anything. We could go ahead and pull power to idle. Let's set the flaps to half. Alright, confirmed on half on both sides, and rudder's good, Elevator's good. Ailerons are good. Back into the cockpit. Let's turn the landing light on. I don't anticipate that we're gonna need much in terms of icing, or anti-icing, I should say. Let's just take a look, check a couple things here. 1920 for airport elevation, and this is saying it's a little bit high. May require cold weather correction, but it's only minus 11. It's actually one of the warmer places up here right now, comparatively. Alright, so we're ready to taxi out. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake. Turn out this way. We might cross into the snow a little bit right here. Could get a pushback, but engine's already running. Not a big deal. Yeah, and we're lined up perfect right there. It would have been actually harder to make the left turn. Alright, we're gonna make a left turn and taxi out and back taxi so that we can take off over the lake and gain some altitude on our climb out, rather than try to have to... Yeah, because if you look up here, you'd be taking off and trying to make a turn going over that terrain. And I'm less fond of that than just kind of taxiing up. I don't see a wind cone at the moment. Unless it's back here and I missed it. No. I don't know. Looking for it. And we don't have to go all the way to the end. We'll probably end up doing a... Oh, you know what? The wind is going straight this direction. We'd be taking off with a major tailwind. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna stop right here. It's tough to see that all the way back there. Alright, flaps are at half. What we're gonna do is hold the brakes, full power. We're gonna get airborne and take an immediate turn out over the water, and we'll circle back that way to gain some altitude. Let's go full power. Kind of improvising a little bit. This is not what I had originally planned. Engine instruments are good. Let's let go of the brakes. Airspeed's immediately alive because of the wind. .77, let's rotate. And we're going to climb out at 87. It's VX. Positive rate, let's go ahead and bring the flaps up. And that is gorgeous. Look at that. This is going to get us the highest altitude gain in the shortest horizontal distance. Alright. We're a little bit lower than at the 87 for VX, but yeah, that's a really good altitude gain right there. Let's go ahead and turn. We're going to circle the lake. Whoa. That is pretty. Alright, now we can lower the nose. Over the lake, we got plenty of terrain clearance. We can go ahead and level off to pick up about VY. And we should see the sun here in just a moment. Oh, here it is. Alright, now we're looking pretty good. And let's go ahead and turn on course. We can engage the autopilot now. Should turn us on course. Lower the speed to about 110 so we can pick up the FLC set speed. And landing light off. Little bit of an improvised takeoff and climb out, but we'll make it work. Let me go ahead and pull the flight tracker up for you all. There we go. was a relatively fast takeoff. We got through all the startup procedure pretty fast. Like to be able to go through that faster. Kind of like that. 'Cause I know some videos we're not airborne until like 15 minutes in, and today it was like 7 minutes, which is nice. We're starting to pick up some ice. Let's go ahead and turn de-ice on. I think normal is okay for right now. It's minus 19 here at altitude. There's a little bit of wispy clouds here. There's the airport, here's the lake. It's starting to get a little tougher to see as we come up to the clouds. But take a look, right there, the sun. We get a little break right here. Did we pick up much ice there? Nah. Pretty much none. None on the wings, at least. Tiny bit on the windscreen. We can go ahead and hit windshield de-ice. That's a gorgeous golden view. Yes, it is. For sure it is. A little bit of a headwind up here. It's about a 14, 15 knot headwind component. Now, last I looked, the winds kind of shift. Yeah, they shift once we get up to closer to our cruise altitude, 21,000. Little bit of a temperature inversion right here. It's actually warmed up about 2 or 3 degrees. From about 6,000 feet or so. Alright, as we climb out, this is going to be a pretty straightforward. Little bit of light turbulence, not bad. It's actually mostly cloudy. You wouldn't have thought it because it looked, you know, had a nice break in the sun. Kind of right there on the, right over the airport in the lake. But this is pretty right here. This is somewhat reminiscent of the view that we had on our flight a couple days ago, going from Anaktuvuk Pass to Fort Yukon. I'd like to do a couple flights in the X-Cub, but the thing is you need good weather for that. It's not IFR certified. This is. This can also deal with icing. The X-Cub cannot. So you really need good, clear weather. It can be cold, but it's gotta be generally sunny. I mean, it can be cloudy as long as the cloud layer is high enough, but you need good weather. Go ahead and lean the mixture to the bottom of the green. I may have bumped a tiny bit too far now. Nah, that's good there. Alright, 12,000 feet. And let's go ahead and take a look at our route. Those are all good there. So here's Chandalar Lake. This is the Chandalar River that we'll fly over. This is the Yukon. Here's Fort Yukon town. And we are going to Central, which sits just on the side of the north side of the White Mountains, which separate the Yukon and Tanana rivers here. So between Fairbanks and Fort Yukon. Along the way, we're just going to basically we'll cross the Yukon, but then as it curves here, we'll actually just be kind of flying parallel to it. And here's the town of Circle, or Circle City, and then Central and Circle Hot Springs. So we've got 3 airports in the area. For any reason we can't make it into Central, we can try Circle Hot Springs or Circle City. If it gets really bad, we would probably have to divert to Fairbanks. Eagle is down this way, but that's a bit far. Fort Yukon would probably be the best choice if we can't make it into Central. But we've got options. And we'll be flying over the flats, but we'll have mountains in both directions, kind of off in the distance. Should be a pretty straightforward route. Should be pretty. Yeah, the winds have shifted. They've calmed down and now they're a crosswind. Yeah, that is really something pretty. You can almost start to see the shadow of twilight a little bit. Just a little bit here. And the reddish horizon colors out back this way. And it looks like the clouds actually start to break up a little bit. They thicken out that way, kind of back here. Out there it looks kind of scattered. Pretty out that direction, so we might be heading to some nice weather. Along the way, it said the weather was clear at Fort Yukon, and it looked to be fairly good where we're heading. Exit icing. Oh, we just have to shut that off. We're in clear skies, not worried about picking any icing up here. Alright, passing 18,000, let's set standard pressure, 2992. In non-flight sim news, I got a new piano today. And that's partly why I'm getting a late start to my flight, is because I spent a fair bit of time just playing that. Really happy. I might do some piano videos now that I have that. I don't know. We'll see. We have a slight tailwind, a 10-11 knot tailwind component, 28 knot crosswind. And you can tell, so look here, this is our track. Our heading is different by about 10 degrees, just because we have to do wind correction. So what happens is if you fly that course heading, the wind is going to push you off track. So you correct by turning toward the crosswind so that it pushes you to the side along your planned route. Stronger the crosswind, the more you have to do that, of course. Alright, here we are coming up right at 21,000 feet, which is our cruise altitude for today. I thought maybe we could go a little higher, but I don't think we need to. This should be fine. Let's go ahead and pull back on the power. We're looking for 30.5. And of course it's going to jump all over the place. Come on, stabilize. There, it's dipping down below 29. Come on! Alright, I'm adding that to my to-do list. I'm going to write it down. Tired of this thing acting up. And it's a shame because otherwise I really do like the unit. now we're... Yeah, this thing just won't stabilize. Gosh. We're gonna get it to sit there. Let's go ahead and lean it. It's about as good as we're gonna get, I suppose. 20, I saw it bump right there at 90 for just a split. Yeah, there we go. Right there. And let's hope it cooperates. Alright, that we've sped up a bit and saying about 32 minutes. Not a very long flight. Minus 30 up here. Celsius. It's minus 22 Fahrenheit. This here is the Chandalar River. And actually, if you turn, we won't really see it because of the clouds, but the river actually runs back and ties into the southern tip of the lake. We can pull it up on the map and see it that way. So here's the river, and we're flying over it right now. Come on. Does it not want to show? Here we go. And it actually runs back up this way, and then it curves and runs... Nah, not there. Further back. Comes up this way. And there it ties into the lake right there. So it runs all the way down. There's the town of Veneti that sits on the river right up here. And then eventually it runs into the Yukon just west of the town of Fort Yukon. There's an airport here. I believe this is Beaver. Yes. And Prospect Creek and Bettles are over this way. Are kind of split between the two there. Ah, fuel imbalance. I forgot. Alright, let's turn that. Go ahead, turn the boost pump off. And it should clear in a moment. There's the river. Look off the way, the airport should be somewhere over here for that town. And I remember struggling to find it the other day when we were flying into Fort Yukon from Anaktuvik Pass. Partly, it was dark. It was after sunset. But also, it's kind of tough to pick it out with the terrain down here. I think it might be over here, but I'm really not sure. But of course it runs into the river. Kind of tough to see at the moment. Yeah, these are all the Yukon Flats. These are the White Mountains, so Central is going to be just beyond kind of the Yukon Flats, right before we get into the base of the mountains. It's going to be pretty. A little bit longer with the sun up. And Central's also a fair bit further south. Let me see. Let's see, it's just about 5 p.m. Alaska time. And I am looking it up on the map. Sunrise and sunset time today. No, that's not correct. 5:14. Okay. So I'm looking. There we go. Okay, so 17 minutes from now, it will be sunset at that airport. And actually, you can see the shadow of the Earth. Kind of here. It's creating a twilight. So we saw that a bit during our flight a couple days ago as well. And you can just see how much so this is actually following our route straight, not directly behind the plane. So you can see how much it's angled back. Just, or angled to the side for the wind correction. So that's a pretty considerable amount. 10 degrees, 9 degrees now, 35 knot, and we got about a 15 knot tailwind component. And we're about a third of the way. Now if we take a look, the airport for that town should be right off our left wing, so let's see if we can pick it up today. I don't know. It's a little lighter. Yeah, unless this is it right here. I really don't know. Maybe I'll have to do a flight into there someday. Get a little more familiar with the area. I mean, it's a short hop from Fort Yukon and from Chandalar Lake. Should be behind us. And it's showing the airport off the side of the river, kind of straight south of the lake. Maybe we can... we use that as a reference. Here's the lake. Yeah, so you know what? This right here, I believe, is the airport. It has to be, because the river's right here. And here's the lake. Unless it's like over here. But I think it's over there. We'll do a flight into there someday. Get a little more familiar with that area. You can start to see the shadow of the Earth. And that's the reason that you get twilight like that, is because of the atmospheric refraction of sunlight. Because without an atmosphere, it would basically look like what a sunrise and sunset looks like on the moon. It's up and then it's down and there's no change in color. But because there is an atmosphere, it refracts, which means it bends sunlight. And where the sun isn't visible, there's still a little bit of refraction to where you get that low level of light during twilight. Alright, here's the Yukon River. So, and I believe crossing over the Yukon is the halfway point. Just about. Not well we can see it, but Fort Yukon should be roughly over here. Now that's the Porcupine River right there. Yeah, here it is. It's the town right there. And then you follow the Yukon as it kind of comes down that way. You run into the town of Circle, and then it kind of meanders off as the hills rise, and then it goes out that way toward Eagle, and then into the Yukon Territory at Dawson. Meanwhile, we are going to be headed just to the base of these mountains. So we fly over the river, and the terrain starts coming up and up and up just a little bit, and we will end up kind of right over here, and this is where the terrain rises up into the mountains and separates the Yukon River Valley from the Tanana River Valley. Now, Central doesn't have any weather. We can cheat, but it's not going to give us aviation weather. And in fact, the closest weather is going to be, it's going to be from Fort Yukon, but Eielson Air Force Base, which is just outside of Fairbanks, and Eagle are almost equal distances to Central as well. So we're going to have to kind of play it by ear. Right at the halfway point, and we're just about to cross the river. So yeah, that was a pretty good guess. A little bit of moisture. I don't think we're going through it. We might go through some of that. And at 1 minute, I just feel all of the cables underneath and up on my desk get tugged. And it's because my cat got one of her cat toys somehow buried among all of those cables and kept trying to kick it out. Back up through and make a couple adjustments to some of the stuff on here. Alright, about 18 minutes out, we actually probably should start planning on a descent. Select approach. There's really no way to tell what the wind is going to be doing. Just because it's so isolated and there's no real weather reports. Now, from what it looks like, it's relatively calm wind, so it probably doesn't make too much of a difference. And think we'll take runway 8. So we'll set up visual. Let's take a look at what this is showing. Yeah, it's kind of got that funky loop again. I don't know why it does that, but nobody would ever actually fly this. Like, that's just... no. The pathing for that is wrong. So we're gonna set direct to the straight fix. Oh, top of descent right there. We're gonna just yank that altitude. Down as we just get the plane started down on time. It's pretty much a direct crosswind. We have 12, yeah, right about 11, 12 degrees of wind correction, just because the crosswinds are so strong. Glad we're not going into that. That'd be a relatively annoying headwind. Really good if you were coming from like Tanana up to Fort Yukon, or if we go like Fort Yukon out to Old Crow in Yukon Territory. Worked out pretty well. Right, started our descent. Let's pull back on the power. We're actually in the yellow. Preferably should get slowed down below that. Power should be good right there. Alright. It's a little bit tough to... don't have a good altimeter report, and it's not like we're on the ground so we can just set it to field elevation. You can't do that. Oh, and between all of these airports, it's a pretty considerable... yeah. So I'm gonna have to try to find a local altimeter setting from just a local, like, weather reporting station. It says 2998. That doesn't sound right. I mean, it could be, but that sounds a little off. That says 2992. That says 2992. Well, so what we're gonna do is just leave it at standard for right now. And once we get closer to the airport, we'll use the shortcut to set the local altimeter. This right here is Birch Creek. Airport right there in a very, very small community in the flats. And that's the town of Fort Yukon. Has the sun set? Yeah. It's kind of cloudy, so I mean it's tough to tell. I think it has. Or that, or it's just hidden behind the clouds and you're not going to see it anyway. Wind is calming down just a little bit. Alright, so here's the Circle City Airport. And the fix that we're flying to, and here's Central where we're landing. Circle Hot Springs would be like up here, just kind of behind Central Airport. Looks like there's a little bit of scattered cloud cover. Down closer to the ground in the area that we're heading. Should not be an issue. I mean, we may have to pay a little bit of attention just for the possibility of a little bit of light icing as we descend, but as of right now, I think we're gonna be fine. Oh, that's leveling us off. We need to continue down. Now, why is it leveling us off? Hold on. That shouldn't be doing that there. Guess we are actually gonna have to turn that up. Let's just set that to that. Should be a Now, that's a little bit of a mistake, but oh well. It's an easy way to correct for that. And I don't know why the VNAV isn't taking back over, but yeah, we can control it this way. So, when we have the FLC, the speed is constant and our throttle controls our descent rate. When you use the VNAV or vertical speed, your descent rate is constant, and your throttle controls your actual airspeed. I don't like it when it cruise. Yeah, sun's gotta be down by now. Alright, mixture, let's say fuel flow is at the bottom of the green, so the mixture is okay where it's at. We can turn these down a bit. pretty out that way. And if you... airframe looks to be pretty clear. Oh, Cookie Mons, what's up? Be another cookie enthusiast. Alright, and we're about 30 miles away from the airport. We go outside and look. Circle City. I don't know how well it's going to be visible over here. Yes, their cookies are the best, to be honest. Oh, yeah. It is tough to make an argument against that. Yeah, so I believe it's out over here is where Circle City is. It may be a little further back. Of course, from here it's kind of tough to see as we're descending and it's getting dark. How long have I been simming? So for this, it's been, I think I started in May. But in terms of just flight sim in general, you have to go all the way back to 2009. And that was Flight Sim 10. I only got this in May, and I wish I had picked it up earlier to get back in. I'm a real-world private pilot, but I very rarely fly, so this is kind of a way for me to live through that. Blue Line area, welcome. Tell me, please, what you're running to push these flawless frames. So CPU is the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D. You got 32 gigs of RAM, and GPU is the RX 6900 XT. It does look like I get a little bit of motion blur. Like if I go back and watch the streams, it looks like there's a little motion blur, but that's probably either YouTube processing it or it's the way the streaming software settings are that encodes the video or whatever. It's perfect. Well, I appreciate it. I thought of upgrading though. And the reason for that is I fly on one monitor, it's 1080p. I'd like to expand that, maybe not 4K, but maybe 1440p. Get some side monitors. But yeah, for now what I've got is working. I love planes, LOL. I'm gonna sub to you. I appreciate that. Welcome. Glad to have you all aboard. Alright, the VNAV is taken back over, but I don't know. Let me zoom in here. No, okay, yeah, we're further out than I would have thought. We've got time to descend. A new sub, hey, I appreciate that again. Certainly not obligated, but I am very grateful for that. Do I plan on flying more in the future in real life? I want to. I mean, I'm not going to do it for a career, but I want to get current and be able to use, you know, a license. I've had it for 15 years almost, and I don't fly nearly enough. So I'd like to have that, be able to enjoy it. It's pretty as the sun's going down here. I'm not totally sure, but I don't think Central has lights. It might. In fact, I could actually take a look on the chart. Let's see. Oh, yes it does! Okay. There's medium intensity edge lighting. Does not have any visual glide slope indicators, so that's gonna be... Well, no, because we can actually rely on the simulated glide slope on our instrument panel. Still may be a little tricky though. Anyway, Halloween took my energy out. Get some sleep, good night. Alright, man. Have a good one. Thank you for subbing again. Motion blur is to be expected running the streaming software. Perfect monitor I've used is an HP Omen 250Hz NVIDIA G-Sync. You love the way it would handle, especially with flight sim. It's the only monitors we use here to train drone pilots. Interesting. Really not familiar with those. Try to turn this down just a little bit here. I appreciate the suggestion. I'll have to look into that. I mean, the one that I have is a 165 Hz, but I don't ever run the frame rates that high on this thing. I have them capped, I believe, at 60. Continue that down a bit. Enriching the mixture a little. Alright. These running lights right here, believe that is the Steese Highway. I'm pretty sure. Runs from Fairbanks up through toward, I believe, Circle City on the river. It's starting to get dark. Oh, take a look. We're coming down. There's mountains off the side, but where we were flying over, we had terrain clearance, plenty of it. Minus 14 Celsius here. Quick look around. Airframe's looking clear. A little bit of low cloud cover here. And is that the airport right there? It might be. It's a little tough to pick out right now. Unless that's it. I don't think that's it, though. No, you know what? It may be, actually. And I'm looking at it. Because this is the road that runs down to Circle Hot Springs. And the airport's just to the east of that. So, yeah. From your experience, is it actually as expensive to fly in real life as it seems? It depends on where you are. And I can tell you in the last 4 years, the cost has gotten pretty considerable. Fuel prices have a lot to do with it because avgas is really expensive. Now we're getting ready to turn on to final approach course. But I mean, a lot of it too is insurance costs have gone up. So if you have to have like aircraft renter's insurance, or if you're doing training with an instructor, the insurance for the instructor's gone up. It's just everything has gone up with inflation, and it seems to have hit aviation pretty hard, if you ask me. Alright, let me hit for the local altimeter. Okay, so it actually wasn't too far off standard, which is good. Alright, we are slow enough to where we can go ahead and do half flaps. Boost pump on, mixture goes full rich. Landing light, ice light. I don't think we need to use any de-ice. It's a very gentle headwind, which is nice. And the tough thing here is figuring out exactly the area that we need to land on. And it sounds weird, but... okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, so it is gravel. It's just running right there. Alright, let's go ahead and disengage the autopilot. That's minus 17, so there was another... another temperature inversion there. We need to slow down some more. Below 110 we can go full flaps. Let's go ahead and do that. 300 to 350 depending on your area, but this is great. Fly private flights out of LZU here in Georgia. Oh yeah, you're not far from me. I'm in South Carolina. And yes, the cost is becoming insane with insurance, maintenance, hangars, and fuel. Yeah. Alright, we're a little bit low. We're going to be relying on this purple diamond, just because we don't have the visual glide indicator. Nothing beats an early morning VFR, that is true. Especially this time of year when it's nice and cool, the dry season. 300 per flight or hour. I would imagine that's probably per hour with everything. Alright, we're a little bit slow here. The tough thing is you can't really see the trees that are obstructions at the start of the runway, but we're on our glide path, so we just need to trust our instrument here. Yep, so here it is. It's a mixture of gravel and dirt from what the chart said, but it's actually a little covered in snow. Oh, referring to the HP monitor. Oh, okay. Nice and slow. Let's get a flare a little bit. Nice and easy. Minus 127. Okay. It actually felt smoother than that. Let's hit the brakes here. Flaps up. And yeah, it's fairly dark here on the ground. We've got room to turn. Wasn't a bad landing. A little bit harder than I thought it actually seemed to be smoother than it was, but when it's nighttime and well, it's actually not technically nighttime for the purposes of landings, but when you don't have full daylight and you don't have a visual glide indicator. Better landing than mine. No big deal. It takes practice, and you know, some I do are just absolutely greased, and then other ones are really hard. A couple days ago I flew into Cordova and I slammed the plane down onto the ground. So it happens. The conditions always, you know, have an effect on that. This is a little parking area over here. It's not much. Central actually does have like a general store where the road splits, and this is a stop for the... trying to remember what the... oh, it's the Yukon Quest. That's the name of it. I was gonna say the sled race that's not the Iditarod. And it's the Yukon Quest. It runs from White... oh, not Whitehorse. Might go from Whitehorse to Fairbanks. And they stop here at that store. Here we are, we're shut down, or we're stopped, so let's get parked. And let's get shut down. Taking off is only half the battle. I could make an argument that it's a third of the battle. Let's get the plane airborne, and climbing out isn't tough, but then once you're airborne, you've got to make sure your navigation is right, and then proper descent coming in and landing. But once you do it enough, to me it feels like muscle memory. It's kind of like riding a bike, a little more complex than that, but... Right. Parking brake is set. Ice light can come off, landing light can come off, nav lights off. Strobes stay on until we shut the engine down. All of those are off. The boost pump is off. Cookie Monster, alright, nice talking to you. I'm out of here. Yeah. Good to have you on. I appreciate you stopping by, and hope to see you again. And have a good evening. Alright. Turn the avionics off. Its power's idle. Cut the mixture. Mags off. Alternator switches. Strobe lights. And last but not least, and for whatever reason it didn't give us our final flight time, but oh well. Ha! Couple trucks driving up the road. Yeah, this is a pretty isolated area. But here we are on the ground in central Alaska. Hey, Purdue Airsoft, welcome. Do I fly real planes too? I have a license, private license, but it's very rare. So I mean, I have real world flying experience, but I don't do it regularly. Now just look at that, the cloud buildup. It really kind of darkens things, but then you have the breaks in the clouds here and you can start seeing the stars. It's a pretty evening here. Chilly. 5 degrees Fahrenheit. I think it said minus 15 Celsius. But that's gonna do it for me for this flight. Appreciate y'all coming by and hanging out. And hope you enjoyed it. And I hope to catch you on the next one. And as always, until then, take care, stay safe. We'll see ya. We got millions.